Right. Let's see. We got ourselves non-council races.
In the early 2160s, the Alliance began aggressive colonization of worlds in the Skyllian Verge, much to the dismay of the Batarians, who had been developing the region for several decades. In 2171, the Batarians petitioned the Council to declare the Verge a zone of Batarian interest. The Council refused, however, declaring unsettled worlds in the region open to human colonization. In protest, the Batarians closed their Citadel embassy and severed official diplomatic relations with the Council, effectively becoming a rogue state. They instigated a proxy war in the Verge by funneling money and weapons to criminal organizations, urging them to strike at human colonies. Hostilities peaked with the Skyllian Blitz of 2176, an attack on the human capital of Elysium by Batarian-funded pirates and slavers. In 2178, the Alliance retaliated with a crushing assault on the moon of Torfin, long used as a staging base by Batarian-backed criminals. In the aftermath, the Batarians retreated into their own systems and are now rarely seen in Citadel space.
Alright. And then the planets.
Pharos is a habitable world in the Attican Beta Cluster. 2/3 of the habitable surface is covered with the ruins of a crumbling Prothean megatropolis. In the millennia since the Prothean extinction, the ruins have been repeatedly picked over by looters many times. Pharos was considered a poor prospect for colonization, as little open ground remains for agriculture. The only sizable freshwater sources are the poles, which are tapped by the decaying Prothean aqueduct systems. The dead cities, while in good condition considering their antiquity, are of uncertain stability. Ground level is congested by a dozen meters of fallen debris, and the air is fouled by dust. In 2178, the Human Exogeny Corporation announced its intention to place a permanent colony on Pharos to thoroughly explore the ruins. The pioneer settlement was placed on the upper levels of several intact skyscrapers, using the surviving Prothean aqueducts and rooftop hydroponic gardens to support the population. Noveria is a cool, rocky world with most of its hydrosphere locked up in massive glaciers. A privately chartered colony world, the planet is owned by the Noveria Development Corporation Holding Company. The NDC is funded by investment capital from 24 high-technology development firms and administrated by an executive board representing their interests. The investors built remote hot labs in isolated locations across Noveria's surface. These facilities are used for research too dangerous or controversial to be performed elsewhere, as Noveria is technically not part of Citadel space and therefore exempt from Council law. By special arrangement, Citadel's special tactics and reconnaissance agents have been granted extraterritorial privileges, but it remains to be seen how committed the executive board is to that principle. Given its unique situation, it is understandable that Noveria is often implicated in all manner of wild conspiracy theories.
Right, and the uncharted worlds.
There are between 200 and 400 billion stars in the galaxy, and less than 1% of them have ever been visited or had their systems properly surveyed. Humanity's early expansion into the Attican Traverse was haphazard, a desperate race to claim habitable planets where populations can be economically settled. Ignored in the wake of this land grab were thousands of less hospitable worlds, each potentially rich with industrial resources. The wealth of entire solar systems lies untapped, waiting for corporate survey teams or independent pioneers to discover and exploit them. However, this is not an easy task. In addition to the environmental hazards, the fact that uncharted worlds are largely ignored makes them popular bases for criminals, revolutionaries, cults, and others who wish to remain unnoticed by galactic society.
Nice. And the second stuff? No. Alrighty. We got 3 things. Liara. I mean, that is like a kind of sign. We should almost... oh, and I also have some assignments. Go to Pharos. The colony that was attacked in Pharos. Then we have Noveria. Then we got Artemis Tower Cluster. But what about the assignments though? Citadel of Fan, that one is weird. Discovered a strange transmission discussing some sort of biotic commune on a whole What was that one? Hawkin Eater and Hydra system in Algo Row. So I'm gonna go for the side missions first. Despite the fact that I talked to Anderson before. So let's get on the ship.
Stand by, shore party. Decontamination in progress.
I heard what happened to Captain Anderson. Survives 100 battles and then gets taken down by backroom politics. Just watch your back, Commander. Things go bad on this mission, you're next on their chopping block.
Well, I am definitely ready.
Saren's out there somewhere, and we're gonna find him.
Everyone on this ship's behind you, Commander. 100%. Intercom's open. If you got anything you want to say to the crew,
Hey.
now's the time.
Well, let's be honest with it.
This is Commander Shepard speaking.
We have our orders. Find Saren before he finds the conduit. I won't lie to you, crew. This mission isn't going to be easy.
Humanity must do its part. No, that sounds weird. Eden Prime was just the start. Nobody's going to help us. Someone will be ready for us. Eden Prime's just the start.
This began with an attack on a human settlement in the Traverse.
But we know Saren won't stop there. His Geth armies aren't going to stay on the far fringes of Citadel space.
Someone will be ready for us. Nobody's going to... Someone will be ready for us.
Our enemy knows we're coming.
Wherever he searches for the conduit, we'll be there. We will hunt him to the very ends of the galaxy and bring him down.
Yeah. Everyone is counting on us. We must not fail. Humanity is in this alone. Wow. That's really sad. Yeah, everyone is counting on us.
Humanity needs to do this.
Not just for our own sake, but for the sake of every other species in Citadel space. Saren must be stopped. And I promise you all, we will stop him.
Well said, Commander. Captain will be proud.
Nice. Not everything. Yeah, he doesn't matter anymore. Wow. I won't let him down.
The captain gave up everything so I could have this chance. We can't fail.
Oh, he didn't really.
Yes, sir.
He didn't really give up everything. I mean, come on. What do we got? We can look outside. Oh, just like that. Nothing. Right. Let's just talk to Joker before we go into the Codex session again.
Commander, something you need?
Yes. Answers and something for my eyes. Right. Ship status report.
How's the Normandy performing? Is she everything they said she'd be?
She's the best ship in the fleet. If you've got a pilot who knows how to handle her. Balance isn't what you'd expect. Takes a while to get used to that oversized drive core we got stuffed in the back, and her power can sneak up on you if you're not careful. The Normandy's probably too much ship for your average Alliance pilot, Commander. Lucky for you, I'm anything but average.
You're kind of like a glass cannon on a seat. I just want to talk.
I like to know my crew. Mind if I ask you a few questions?
I can see where this is going. You did a background check on me, didn't you? Well, I'll tell you the same thing I told the captain. You want me as your pilot. I'm not good. I'm not even great. I am the best damn helmsman in the Alliance fleet. Top of my class in flight school, I earned that. All those commendations in my file, I earned every single one. Those weren't given to me as charity for my disease.
Didn't mean to just insult you, but okay. What disease?
What are you talking about? Are you sick?
You mean you didn't know? Oh, crap. Okay, I've got Wrex syndrome, brittle bone disease. The bones in my legs never develop properly. They're basically hollow, too much force and they'll shatter. Even with crutches and my leg braces, it's hard to get around. One wrong step and crack! It's very dramatic, but I've learned to manage my condition, Commander. Put the Normandy in my hands and I'll make her dance for you. Just don't ask me to get up and dance unless, you like the sound of snapping shin bones.
How do you get your nickname? Well, we kinda got it.
Why does everyone call you Joker?
It's a lot shorter than saying Alliance Flight Lieutenant Jeff Moreau. Plus, I love to make little children laugh.
Oh, that's the answer. Yeah, right.
I was just thinking how much you remind me of Santa Claus.
Look, I didn't pick the name. One of the instructors in flight school used to bug me about never smiling. She started calling me Joker, and it stuck.
You're unhappy? What? How?
Why didn't you ever smile?
Hey, I worked my ass off in flight school, Commander. The world's not gonna hand you anything if you go around grinning like an idiot. By the end of the year, I was the best pilot in the academy, even better than the instructors, and everybody knew it. They'd all got their asses kicked by the sickly kid with the creaky little legs. One guess who was smiling at graduation?
Okay. Damn it, what you did. Well, we got the
I
information.
need to know
on
more
this.
about this Wrex syndrome if I'm putting my ship in your hands.
Yeah, of course you do. It's an extremely rare condition. Nobody knows exactly what causes it. Genetic, maybe. It's treatable, but there's no cure. They classify my case as moderate to severe. I was born with over a dozen fractures, hip, thighs, ankles. My bones were already breaking in the womb. 100 years ago, I wouldn't have survived past my first year. Lucky for me, modern medical science has turned me into a productive member of society.
How'd you do your job?
You're not gonna break a bone trying to fly the ship, are you?
I don't fly with my feet, Commander, so I'm fine as long as I'm in this chair. I gotta be real careful when I get up to take a piss, though. I can do my job as well as anyone on the ship. Better, actually. So don't worry about it.
Nice. So as long as I give you some empty bottles to pee in, everything will be fine.
I'm not trying to make you uncomfortable. Let's talk about something else.
Whatever you want, Commander.
Right. Ship status, personal history. Yeah.
How'd you end up joining the Alliance?
Look, if you're looking for an inspirational tale of the crippled kid overcoming impossible odds, you're gonna be disappointed. My mother was a civilian contractor working for the Alliance. I basically grew up on the Arcturus station back when they were building up the fleets. Spend all that time around Alliance ships, there's a good chance you'll end up going to the Academy.
Interesting. Yeah, I think that's it. Good.
I have to go.
Alright, see ya.
Right. It's Codex time. And we got ourselves planets and locations. Arcturus Station. Arcturus Station is the gateway to Sol. A 5-kilometer diameter Stanford Torus type space station at the trailing Lagrange point of the gas giant Themis. Construction on Arcturus Station began in 2151 and concluded in 2162. It was inaugurated in 2156 and has served as the military and political headquarters of the Systems Alliance from the First Contact War until the present. When humanity activated the Charon mass relay in 2149, it led to Arcturus, 36 light years from Sol's Earth-Sun. Arcturus is the third brightest star seen from Earth. It is an ancient red giant from the generation born before Sol. Its worlds are either gas giants or ice chunks. While some rocky debris exist, the metal content is 25% lower than normal. To build Arcturus Station, metallic asteroids were towed through the mass relays to the construction site. Many of these asteroids remain near the station, their mined-out area home to transient populations. The expense of bringing construction materials into the system was acceptable due to its strategic value. With 3 primary mass relays in addition to the secondary one to Sol, Arcturus is a major communication and military choke point. The Alliance First Fleet is based in Arcturus, where it can guard the gates to Sol and react to incursions in the 3 connected clusters. The station also hosts the Systems Alliance Parliament and the Systems Alliance Military General Headquarters. Its permanent population is approximately 45,000. Arcturus is actually from the galactic halo, one of a cluster of 52 stars that are crashing through the disk of the galaxy. In a billion years, Arcturus will be sailing through the depths of extragalactic dark space. And the FTL drive appearance. New space travelers ask, what does it look like outside a ship moving it faster than light speed? Part of the answer can be seen in a simple plane of glass. Light travels slower through glass than it does through open air. Light also moves slower in conventional space than it does in a high-speed mass effect field. This causes refraction. Any light entering at an angle is bent and separated into a spectrum. Objects outside the ship will appear refracted. The greater the difference between the object on the exterior and subject in the interior speeds of light, the greater the refraction. As the subjective speed of light is raised within the field, objects outside will appear to redshift, eventually becoming visible only to radio telescope antenna. High energy electromagnetic sources, normally hidden to the eye, become visible in the high blue spectrum. As the speed of light continues to be raised, X-ray, gamma ray, and eventually cosmic rays sources become visible. Stars will be replaced by pulsars and accretion disks of black holes, quasars, and gamma ray bursts. That's actually a really cool idea. A spectrum shift. To an outside observer, a ship within a Mass Effect drive envelope appears blue shifted if within a field that allows travel at twice the speed of light. Any radiation it emits has twice the energy as normal. If the ship is in a field of about 200 times light speed, it radiates visible light as X-rays and gamma rays, and the infrared heat from the hull is blue shifted up into the visible spectrum or higher. Ships moving at FTL are visible at great distances, though their signature will only propagate at the speed of light. So, and the other stuff is already done. And
The Normandy is a prototype starship developed by the Human Systems Alliance with the assistance of the Citadel Council. It is optimized for scouting and reconnaissance missions in unstable regions using state-of-the-art stealth technology. For most ships, the heat generated through standard operations is easily detectable against the absolute zero background of space. The Normandy, however, is able to temporarily sink this heat within the hull. Combined with refrigeration of the exterior hull, the ship can travel undetected for hours or drift passively for days of covert observation. This is not without risk. The stored heat must eventually be radiated, or it will build to levels capable of cooking the crew alive. Another component of the stealth system is the Normandy's revolutionary Tantalus drive, a Mass Effect core twice the standard size. The Tantalus drive generates mass concentrations that the Normandy falls into, allowing it to move without the use of heat-emitting thrusters.
nice, and this is exactly what we need nowadays. A Mass Effect field. Alright. It falls into space. That's exactly how it works. By the way, exactly how it works. So, right, let's see. We got ourselves another galaxy map. Some stuff. Some comm rooms and deck 2 and deck 2. How many decks we got even? So there's like that and that. Let's talk to Presley.
If anyone has to take over for Captain Anderson, I'm glad it's you. I'm not sure about having non-humans on our ship, though.
Well, they're on our side for now.
We're all on the same team here, Presley.
With all due respect, sir, that's what they said about Nihilus. Look how that turned out.
Well, Nihilus is dead, but the rest of the team seems to be almost okay. Except for, I think it was Jeffrey, or was it? Don't know what he was called. Anyway, you doubt my decisions? No. Aliens on the ship, what?
Speak freely, Presley. I want to know if you have a problem with non-humans.
It's not that, Commander. Humanity has always handled its own problems. Saren attacked one of our colonies. We should be the ones to stop him. We don't need their help.
Well, if they want to help, that's okay. Never turn it away.
Some people think asking for help is a sign of weakness. That's just being stupid and stubborn. No matter how strong you are, allies can make you stronger.
I guess so. Maybe I'm just stuck in the old ways of thinking. But don't worry, Commander. This won't be a problem.
Perfect. And personal stuff.
How did you end up assigned to the Normandy?
I signed up with the Alliance as a navigator right out of school, following in my grandfather's footsteps, I guess. My first posting was on the Agincourt. We were at Elysium during the Skillian Blitz. A massive fleet of alien raiders hit the colony, trying to wipe it out. They had the numbers, but their ships were no match for an Alliance frigate. It was a slaughter. We couldn't even keep track of how many ships they lost.
And now you're here.
How'd you end up on the Normandy?
I got my officer's commission after Elysium. Must have made an impression on the right people. Captain asked for me when he was picking his crew.
Nice.
Carry on, Presley.
Yes, sir.
Hey, and another codex. Let's collect another one before we do anything else. And a meeting with the dog, of course. Why not? Wait a minute. This is like the galaxy map. We don't need that. This is the comm room. Wait a minute, can I actually talk to someone? No, the comm room is empty. It's like quest-related communication mostly. So, let's see. Dock 2 then. It's kind of weird that it goes down instead of up. So wait, this is the elevator? We don't want to do that. That's like... Those two... can't use the lockers. Ah, look at that. Caden. Long time no see.
Anything you need, Commander?
Well, looking for personal input.
Just trying to get a sense of where the crew's at. Thoughts?
I've wasted enough of your time for now, Commander. We'll have time for personal debriefings later.
Okay, and tactical stuff?
What's your opinion on the last mission?
I don't see how we could have done things any better. At least not without getting to Eden Prime sooner. And we were on the scene faster than any other Alliance ship could have been.
Alright, thanks then.
We'll talk another time, Lieutenant.
Commander?
So, what's this one? Why does it say Normandy? I know that I'm on the Normandy. I want to know who's... maybe that's... it's my stuff. So, another codex that we can read. Nice. So, the medic thingy is on... Oh, there's a sleeping pod. There's probably another entry there as well. Ah, replenish the gels. How many of them do I... B, yeah, 6 out of 6, so... Wait a minute. Do I have a few more items that I could actually use? That would be nice. No. I do want to know what this license stuff was actually all about. The things that I unlocked. Okay, let's talk to Chakras.
Yes, Commander? Is there something you need?
Oh. Did I actually talk to her about Caden? Maybe.
How well do you know the Lieutenant?
I'd never worked with him before this mission. But he has an impressive service record. Over a dozen special commendations. Tends to keep to himself, though. Maybe because of the headaches. It's not easy being an L2.
Yeah, okay, so we got that one. Personal stuff?
How did you end up serving?
I enlisted right out of med school. I wanted to... But humanity needs the Alliance if we...
I should go.
Goodbye,
Okay.
Commander.
Perfect, so there's nothing more to talk with her about. So then, sleeping pods. Sleeping in here. No one for now. So just seeing that the... Wait a minute, that's just cut. We got 4 on each side, so 8, right? So there are 8 sleeping pods in the whole ship, or at least for now in the ship. Everyone else has to stay awake for the whole time. That's just great. That's absolutely great. So let's elevate the activator. Oh, it actually goes down. It goes down very, 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 very slowly. Thank goodness not that slow. Alright. So that one goes that way, and we got ourselves... Oh. What about that one? Ooh, shopkeeper. Perfect.
Hey, Commander. Looking for some extra supplies before you head out?
Oh, yes.
What have you got?
Whatever you want. Armor, weapons, mods. It's not standard Alliance issue, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Well, as long as you don't mind paying for it.
Well, pay you? What?
Why should I pay you for my weapons and armor?
My stuff doesn't come from the Alliance. I have to purchase it myself, and it's not cheap. Hell, the licenses alone have set me back more than I'd like. But no licenses, no goods. Without the goods, I'm out of a job.
Ah, right. Okay, so this is the one who benefits from the licenses. We just go down on the planet and he unlocks like certain items and so on.
What are licenses? Why do you need them?
Manufacturers sell licenses. Each license allows me to buy and sell a certain brand of products. I already have several basic ones, but you'll need to buy more if you want me to bring in different brands. Many of the best licenses are hard to get, but they're well worth the cost if you can find them.
Okay, and what about the manufacturer?
What do the different manufacturers offer?
There are too many for me to keep track of, but each license will explain what it's good for.
Alright, so new items then.
How often will you get new items?
Well, that depends on how many licenses you've purchased, but I'll rotate items on a regular basis regardless. And anytime we land someplace with a big enough port, I'll buy, sell, and trade whatever I can. Check back often. I need to move items quickly, so only the most basic items will be stocked consistently.
Oh, nice.
Let's see what you've got.
You bet, Commander.
An awful lot of zeros in there. Okay, so the Spectre stuff is available. And we also got like Scorpion things. Human items most of the time. Snipes. The thing is, it compares it to us, right? But we are not the ones carrying the most developed, or like the most current and strongest weapons of a certain kind. Like I use pistols. Snipers are supposed to be on Garrus, and shotguns on the Krogan. And even that one here, the medium armor Krogan. How am I supposed to do that? It would be nice to compare this some other way though. Alright, then we got some lancers, some more assassin stuff, pistols. Biotic amps, that's the only one so far. Biotic amp. Yeah, there are no other biotic amps. Alright, so that's all of that. Let's talk to Garrus.
Thanks for bringing me on board, Commander. I knew working with the Spectre would be better than life at CSEC.
Yeah.
Have you worked with a Spectre before?
Well, no, but I know what they're like. Spectres make their own rules. You're free to handle things your way. At CSEC, you're buried by rules. The damn bureaucrats are always on your back.
Well, it's not that bad. Or is it? Well, kind of, like for him it definitely is.
Being a Spectre does have its advantages.
Exactly my point. If I'm trying to take down a suspect, it shouldn't matter how I do it, as long as I do it. But CSEC wants it done their way. Protocol and procedure come first. That's why I left.
And that was your reason?
So you just quit because you didn't like the way they do things?
There's more to it than that. It didn't start out bad, but as I rose in ranks, I got saddled with more and more red tape. CSEC's handling of Saren was typical. I just couldn't take it anymore. I hate leaving.
It's a tough decision.
I hope you made the right choice. I'd hate for you to regret it later.
Well, that's sort of why I teamed up with you. It's a chance for me to get off the Citadel, see how things are done outside CSEC. Either way, I plan to make the most of this. And without CSEC headquarters looking over my shoulder, well, maybe I can get the job done my way for a change.
Sounds good.
As long as you do your job well, you're free to go about your business as you see fit.
Thank you, Commander.
Alright, so wait a minute, do we have anything hidden down here? No. Just some safety ramps or so. And Ashley.
Commander?
Yeah, can we talk? Why should we talk? How you doing?
What's your opinion on the last mission?
Kinda wish you'd got there sooner, Commander. No offense, I appreciate the rescue. I just wish...
that we'd saved your unit.
You wish we'd been able to save the rest of your unit?
Yes, sir. If I had been more alert, we wouldn't have been cut down by an ambush.
Yeah, you couldn't though.
We never trained to fight synthetics. The Geth haven't gone beyond the Veil in 3 centuries.
Our training's supposed to make us able to adapt. I'll make sure it doesn't happen again.
Do you have a few minutes to talk one-on-one?
I'm sorry, Commander. I need to get my duties squared away. I wouldn't mind talking more later, though.
Dismissed, Chief.
Sweet. So...
Sir.
But she's actually not the focus. Wait a minute. Ashley's locker? So this is how you can, like, give them certain items and so on. But the thing is, it's much easier to... The one on the left might actually be... Wait a minute. Yep, there's one missing. We're gonna get her somewhere later, I would say. Yeah, she will be the first main mission that we're gonna do. But first side missions and exploration.
You've got, Shepard. What can I do for you?
What's your story, Wrex?
There's no story. Go ask the Quarian if you want stories.
Come on.
You Krogan live for centuries. Don't tell me you haven't had a few interesting adventures.
Well, there was this one time the Turians almost wiped out our entire race. That was fun.
That's unfortunate.
I heard about that. You know, they almost did the same to us.
It's not the same.
It isn't.
Seems pretty much the same to me.
So your people were infected with a genetic mutation? An infection that makes only a few in 1,000 children survive birth? And I suppose it's destroying your entire species?
That's actually very interesting. So it's not infertility, it's children's survival. That's actually even meaner, if you think about it. I see your point.
I suppose it isn't all the same.
I don't expect you to understand, but don't compare humanity's fate with the Krogan.
Wow. I can compare it as much as I want, right? If I compare it, then I know how the different aspects are.
I was just making conversation. I wasn't trying to upset you.
Your ignorance doesn't upset me, Shepard. As for the Krogan, I gave up on them long ago. The genophage infected us, but it's not what's killing us.
Interesting. Extinction?
Are your people really dying?
We're sure not getting any stronger. We're too spread out. None of us are interested in staying in our own system.
And?
Lots of species have left their homes and prospered.
But they go to colonize new worlds. We're not settlers. We're warriors. We want to fight. So we leave. Hire ourselves out. And most of us never go back.
Wow. That's actually... That's actually really bad.
What can you tell me about the genophage?
Ask the Solarians if you want details. They made it. All I know, it makes breeding nearly impossible. Thousands die in stillbirth, and most never get that far. Every Krogan is infected, every one. And no one's rushing to find a cure.
But why?
Why don't the Krogan try to find a cure?
When was the last time you saw a Krogan scientist? You ask a Krogan, would he rather find a cure for the genophage or fight for credits? He'll choose fighting every time. It's just who we are, Shepard. I can't change that. Nobody can.
But if you just word it differently, then it's fighting the genophage, right?
So long, Wrex.
Shepard.
Really, 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 really sad story. But this, look at that beautiful core. Awesome. And Tali. Taking care of it. Maybe we get some upgrades.
Your ship's amazing, Shepard. I've never seen a drive core like this before. I can't believe you were able to fit it into a ship this small. I'm starting to understand why you humans have been so successful. I had no idea Alliance vessels were so advanced.
Well, this ship's special.
The Normandy's a prototype. Cutting-edge technology.
A month ago, I was patching a makeshift fuel line into a converted tug ship in the flotilla. Now, I'm sitting on board one of the most advanced vessels in Citadel space. I have to thank you again for bringing me along. Traveling on a vessel like this is a dream come true for me.
Wait, you're into ships.
I had no idea you found ship technology so interesting.
It comes with being a Quarian. The migrant fleet is the key to the survival of my people. Ships are our most valuable resource. But we don't have anything like this. We make do with cast-offs and second-hand equipment. We just try to keep them running for as long as we can. Some of the fleet's larger vessels date all the way back to our original flight from the Geth.
That was 300 years ago.
I can't believe your fleet's still using ships that are 3 centuries old.
They're constantly being repaired, modified, and refitted. They aren't pretty, but they work. Mostly. We've tried to make ourselves as independent as possible on the flotilla, grow our own food, mine and process our own fuel. But some things we just can't make on our own. A patch to maintain the hull integrity requires raw materials we just don't have. That's why our pilgrimages are so important.
Maybe it would be better for them to not make and mine and whatever work on their materials, but rather buy it. That would open up far, far, far more opportunities, wouldn't it? So, Quarians.
Tell me about your people.
Our lives aren't easy. Resources are scarce, and we are constantly on the move. Everything we do must in some way contribute to the continuation of the migrant fleet. There are 17 million Quarians in the flotilla, and each of us relies on the others for survival. The bonds among my people are strong. Unfortunately, we have had to surrender many of the freedoms and civil liberties other species take for granted.
Like what?
What kind of freedoms?
Well, it's illegal for parents to have more than one child. If our population grows too much, it would strain our resources to their breaking point. Of course, we also can't allow our numbers to become too few. If our population is in decline, the rule against single births is temporarily repealed. In extreme cases of population decline, incentives are even offered to encourage multiple births. Though the Conclave hasn't had to take such measures in nearly a century.
Oh boy. Okay, so not only do the Quarians are a bit too micromanaging, and this is what their problem is, right? They have that's also why they couldn't really accept the Geth, because they couldn't control the Geth. The Quarians are actually extreme. Yeah, they're so focused on control that anything that does not adhere to any rule they just make up is not allowed. So Geths are not allowed because they basically go against the control. They just try to rebel. And yeah, they were not allowed any freedoms. Maybe this is the reason. And then you have the family management that they make up here. That's also very weird. I mean, because of the food stuff, kind of makes sense. But if there are more Quarians, then there's also more possibility of like getting more stuff, right? Like, it just makes the family larger. Therefore, there's more stuff that every Quarian can do. Maybe. Only thing that you need is like more ships, of course, but that one could also be managed. Because they rely on themselves and their own like fuel creation and food supply and whatnot. That basically means that they try to micromanage their economy as well. If they try to do that, then of course they can't rely on the help of other species. That's actually, it goes against everything. Oh boy. Anyway, the Conclave.
That's your government.
The Conclave is our civilian branch of government. Each ship can elect a representative to serve on the Conclave and make decisions that affect the fleet as a whole. On matters that affect an individual ship, however, the captain has the final say. It's a tradition that dates back to the early days, when the fleet was governed by martial law. Fortunately, most captains nowadays are smart enough to have an elected council from their crew to give them advice and guidance.
So you're democratic.
So the ultimate power rests with elected officials.
In practice, the Conclave and the respective council for each ship tend to set the rules that govern our daily lives. But in theory, we are still under military jurisdiction. The 5 top-ranking military officials in the fleet serve on the Admiralty Board. These 5 have the power to overrule any decision by the Conclave in case of emergency. To do so requires unanimous agreement among the Admiralty, and they can only do this once. After that, the entire board must resign their posts. It's a safeguard that served us well. In nearly 3 centuries, the Admiralty Board has only overruled the Conclave 4 times.
But why should that mean that it gets safer if they get overruled only 4 times? Like, against what? Anyway, those are Quarians and Geth.
I want to know more about the Geth.
I doubt I can tell you anything you don't already know. It's been almost 3 centuries since they drove my people into exile. All I know is the story of their origins. What they were when we created them, and how they turned on us.
Oh, tell me.
Interesting.
The Geth were originally created to serve as an automated manual labor force. Initially, their intelligence was as limited as any VI. Over time, we made small modifications to their programming to allow them to perform more varied and complex tasks, bringing them closer and closer to true AI status.
Is their research illegal? Well, it wasn't back then, I think.
How come the Council didn't step in and stop you?
This wasn't true AI research. We may have been skirting the bounds of the law, but we never did anything that was actually illegal. The changes were so insignificant, so gradual, that we were able to control them. Or so we thought. But one thing we underestimated was the power of the neural network. 1 million Geth thinking simultaneously created an inherently unstable matrix.
Okay, and that neural network.
So, the Geth share brain power?
Many of the Geth's logic systems were designed to work in concert with other nearby Geth. Basically, the more of them you have in a group, the smarter they are.
Interesting. So, hive mind stuff.
So there's some sort of group consciousness?
No, nothing like that. They cannot share sensory data or information. Their programming cannot handle that much simultaneous input. Each Geth maintains an individual awareness and identity. The neural network only operates on a process-based level. It's basically the synthetic equivalent of a subconscious. But when they're in close proximity, they can coordinate low-level functional processes, freeing up more capacity for original or independent thought.
Ooh. Why did they turn on you then?
What made them rebel?
As we built more and more Geth, their effective intelligence became more sophisticated, more abstract. One day, a Geth began to ask its Quarian overseer questions about the nature of its existence. Am I alive? Why am I here? What is my purpose? As you can imagine, this caused a near panic among my people.
Why?
I don't see what's so bad about those questions.
The Geth were created to engage in mundane, repetitive, or dangerous manual labor. That's fine for machines, but it won't satisfy a sentient being for long. The Geth were showing signs of rudimentary self-awareness and independent thought. If the Geth were intelligent, then we were essentially using them as slaves. It was inevitable the newly sentient Geth would rebel against their situation. We knew they would rise up against us, so we acted first. A general order went out across all Quarian-controlled systems to permanently deactivate all Geth. The Geth responded to this order violently.
Well, they defended themselves.
You can't blame them for fighting for their survival.
We had no other choice. The Geth were already on the verge of revolution. By acting quickly, we had a chance to end the war before it began. The hope was that most of the Geth would still be little more than machines, incapable of organized resistance. But they had progressed much further than anyone anticipated. The war was long and bloody. Millions upon millions of Quarians died at their hands. In the end, we were forced to flee our own homeworld. We feared the Geth would pursue us, but they never came beyond the Veil. Now we drift through space, exile, searching for a way to reclaim what was once ours.
It's hard to feel sorry for you. Your ancestors tried to wipe out another species.
We made a mistake when we created the Geth in the first place, but we did not make a mistake when we went to war against them. If we had not acted, they would have wiped us out. They're a synthetic life form. They have no use for organics. None. Why do you think they cut themselves off from the rest of the galaxy? Why do you think they've killed every organic being who's ever tried to contact them?
because they were getting fought at. They were getting shot at. It's very easy. Okay, so not everyone.
They didn't kill Saren.
What does that tell you? The Geth are not innocent victims in all this. They're the enemy. They want to destroy us. Not just the Quarians. All organic life. That's why they've joined up with Saren. And that's why we have to stop him.
Alright, so, let's just go for the last topic here, pilgrimage.
I want to know more about the pilgrimage.
When my people reach maturity, we leave our birth ships and seek acceptance with a new crew. It's necessary to maintain genetic diversity among the fleet. But no ship wants to accept someone who will be a burden on them. So, to prove our worth, we embark on a pilgrimage. We set out alone, leaving the flotilla and our families behind us. We only return once we have found something of value we can bring back to the fleet. This is presented as a gift to the captain of the respective ship we wish to join. If the gift is accepted, we are welcomed into the crew.
And do they always accept?
Can a captain choose to reject the gift?
That doesn't happen often. Most captains are eager to increase the size of their crew. It increases their own standing in our society. Even when a gift is not particularly valuable, the captain usually accepts it out of a sense of tradition. However, there is a stigma to presenting a substandard gift. It's not the best way to make a good impression on a new community. Most pilgrims don't return until they find something worthwhile.
Yeah, just give them anything. Doesn't matter. When they're part of the... part of another ship, then they can just work a little bit and pay it off that way. So, sounds dangerous. Yeah.
I can't believe they just send you off alone.
It's not like they just cast us out. Before we leave, we are given lessons in how to survive outside the flotilla, and given gifts to help us on our journey. We also receive implants to fight off sickness and disease. Generations of living in an isolated and highly controlled environment have left our immune systems weaker than most. By the time we leave the fleet, we are well equipped for the pilgrimage. This is a rite of passage for all Quarians. If it were dangerous, our numbers would suffer. Virtually every pilgrimage ends with a triumphant return and the ritual presentation of the gift to one of the fleet's captains.
Alright.
I want to talk about something else.
Actually, nothing.
I should go.
See you later.
Alligator. Field integrity monitor. Another thing for the codex. I can get that thing done there as well. Engineer Adams. Oh, that's the last one.
Hey, Commander, you know that Quarian Tally? She's been spending all her time down here asking me about our engines.
Yeah, she bothering you.
I'll tell her to leave you alone.
What? No, she's amazing. I wish my guys were half as smart as she is. Give her a month on board and she'll know more about our engines than I do. She's got a real knack for technology, that one. I can see why you wanted her to come along.
Yeah, she's useful.
I figured she'd be a real asset to the team.
You got an eye for talent, Commander. But I'm guessing that's not why you came down here.
Well, the stealth system.
Fill me in on the IES stealth systems. How does it work exactly?
You can't hide a ship out in space. They emit too much heat and radiation. Too easy for sensors to pick them up, unless you find a way to capture those emissions. So our stealth systems trap the energy we give off in storage sinks built into the ship itself. No emissions to give away our location. Eventually the sinks have to be vented. More than a few hours silent running and they overheat. Cook us inside our own hull.
Interesting. So we are invisible-ish?
There's no way for anyone to detect us?
A visual scan can still pick us up. Anyone looking out a window can see us plain as day. But you have to be pretty close to get an actual visual out in space. Most vessels rely on scanners. As long as the stealth systems are engaged, they can't see us. Not unless we accelerate to FTL speeds.
Okay, so that one gives it a...
Why doesn't it work with faster than light travel?
Cranking up to FTL, blue shifts our emissions, pushes them into frequencies too high to capture in the sinks. As soon as we make the jump, it's like setting off a flare. Sensors can pick up our location whenever we enter or exit FTL flight, but for short-range missions, our stealth systems are amazing, and we've got the only one.
Oh? Why do we have the only one? Someone had to develop it, right? Anyway, personal questions.
Where else have you served, Adams?
If you name a class of Alliance ship, I've probably served on it. Everything from dreadnoughts and carriers right down to frigates like the Normandy. My last assignment was on the Tokyo, only a cruiser, but she was a good ship. Couldn't hold a candle to the Normandy, though.
And how do you like that ship?
I want to know more about the Normandy.
She's the best ship I've ever served on. Probably the fastest vessel ever designed. And she's the only one using the new Tantalus drive core.
What's so special about the Tantalus drive core?
Proportionally, it's about twice the size of any other vessel. Not only are we faster, we can run at FTL speeds longer before we have to discharge the core.
Interesting.
Carry on, Adams.
Aye, aye, Commander.
So the core has to be discharged. So it charges up, and it goes into FTL mode, and at one point it has to be discharged for whatever reason. Very interesting. Alright,